So hello everyone, my name is Shritha Reddy and I'm an 8th grader at the current school. I'm so honored and happy to be a speaker today at your Founders Day. And before I start, I would like to thank a few people. First, I would like to thank Mrs. Sinclair and AlphaDeltaKappa for inviting me here today. And I was so happy to hear that Mrs. Sinclair came to both of my nonprofit organization shows. And I was really happy just to see that there was people that I'd never met who were ready to invite me so I could share my message and my passion. Next, I would like to thank Mrs. Groschmidt, who was my 3rd grade teacher. And she really was where my passion for water really kick-started. And I'll talk more about that later on. And last, I would like to thank my mom. It's her birthday today. And so thank you, Mom. She's always supported me through anything I've done. And she's here to support me today, so thank you. So I kind of created like a mini agenda for what I'm going to be talking about today. First, I'll be talking about Alpha Delta Kappa and the founders and their vision. Next, I'll be talking about my own nonprofit organization, show, and my vision. Then, I guess I'm going to call it story time, and I'll kind of leave that as it's kind of a different part of me, and I leave that to the end as kind of like a mystery and a surprise. So, I really wanted to learn more about your founders, and so I did some research, and I found that Alpha Delta Kappa was founded in 1947 by Agnes Shipman Robertson, Mary Neal, Marion Southall, and Haiti Lupino. And as I was reading and learning more about them, I realized that there were some similarities between all of the founders. They had a love for teaching, they put others' needs before their own, and they were dedicated and committed to this organization. They said that they worked 8 days a week, but I'm pretty sure we all know there are only 7 days in a week. So this really showed their commitment and dedication towards this organization. They also traveled all around the country spreading their message. But travel was not as easy as it is now. You can't just get on a plane, take a train, or drive somewhere yourself. The roads were not in best condition, and transportation was expensive, and it was not as safe either. So they were putting their lives in risk, but they were doing it for this organization. I also started to see, and I kind of interpreted the founders' vision, and I interpreted it as the fact that they wanted to bring together women educators so that they could learn from one another, and they could improve the school communities and their teaching. And I think that kind of symbolizes the whole teamwork makes a dream work. And I really think that that's the vision that I really interpreted from what the founders were doing and how they did it. So now I would like to talk about how I started to make a difference in my friends without my knowledge. When I was in 4th grade, I saw that one of my friends was struggling with the concept that we were learning. He was sad that everybody was able to get it except him. So I went over to him and I started trying to comfort him. And somewhere in the middle of that conversation, I said something along the lines of, don't think less of yourself when you are more, and don't think you deserve less when you deserve more. At the end of this conversation, my friend was really happy and he was ready to dive back into the topic and relearn it. And I was really happy because I was one of the main people who helped him get to that position. A few months later, during class activity, my teacher asked everyone to share more about their own role model. When it was my turn, I talked about my brother, who has been the most influential person in my life. I'll talk more about him later on when I talk about my nonprofit organization. But when it was my friend's turn, he said that his inspiration was me. I actually had forgotten the words that I had told him. I just said, oh, I helped him, and I forgot about it. But he had remembered the quote that I had told him and told it to our teacher, and that helped me understand that, wow, he really took that to heart and he really used that because that changed the way that he thought and acted. And my teacher said, when words can change the way you think or act, those words became a quote. So the words that I simply said to my friend as motivational words had now become a quote. And we hung them on our class door as the quote of the week. Every week we would have a quote from a famous influential person and we put a quote, so it's like a inspirational quote to start off the week. But this time, it was not someone who was really famous. It was me. And I think that really helped my friends realize that it doesn't matter your age or what you're doing, because the simple things can really make a big difference. So that was kind of my first time really being able to be helping the community. But it didn't stop there. I started using it not only in school, but also in my extracurricular activities. I learned an Indian classical dance called Bharatanatyam, and it is very amazing as you have to express yourself through your expressions and body movement. There's no words involved. So I've really used it to express my emotions and to be able to have the audience interpret the meaning. So when I was little, and I've been learning Bharatanatyam for the past 6 years, my dance teacher, Guru Kripa Bhaskaran, asked me, what is your goal in dance? Of course, I was really little, and I simply said, I want to express myself, and I want to try my best. But I didn't really know the meaning about that. But now, as I'm looking back at it, I'm understanding what I truly meant was that I wanted to believe that if you could express yourself through an art form, whether that be dance, anything, music, then you can achieve your goal. Now, I think that everybody can use that in their day-to-day life, no matter if you're doing a physical art form or if you're emotionally connected to music. Then, as I got older, of course I'm only in 8th grade, but from kindergarten to 8th grade, the classes have gotten harder. And I can't even understand how hard they're going to get through high school and college. We'll get there when I get there. There's another year. I'm going to spend my year wisely. But I started to respect class time because my friends, they're wonderful people. I do love them a lot. But when we're in class, it can be distracting. A lot of my friends would get distracted and they wouldn't learn the topics that we were learning. And I started to understand that if students could respect their class time, the teachers could teach so much more. And you could go into so many better topics. Because my friends, I can talk to them on my phone almost any time of the day, and they'll respond within a minute. But teachers, you only have them for the 45 minutes that you're in their class. And that class time is very valuable. And I learned that, and I try to tell my friends that so that they can truly understand the value of their education. Now, I truly believe the school that I go to and that my brother went to, the Prairie School, does an amazing job of that. Not only in 3rd grade with Mrs. G did I learn the real value of class time, but through any of the classes, the teachers really focus on teaching you that you need to respect the class time and how valuable teachers are and friendship. And I think that I've learned so much, and the unique environment that Prairie creates has really helped me grow into a really good leader in our community. Now, I think that teachers are a very good resource, but I also think that having a friend who is almost like a teacher friend, I guess you could call them, is also really important. And my friends consider me to be their resource. Not only do I help my friends when they have homework questions, because unlike some of my friends, I don't just give them the answer and say, here, copy my work. I really help them and I guide them in the direction towards the right answer. So they're learning what we were learning in class, and they're doing it in their own way. I think that's really beneficial for their own growth in the subject. And it's not only in class, but also on the court when we're playing sports. If my friends are struggling with a skill, for example, let's just say shooting a basketball, I'll spend my time with them and I'll teach them the correct form. So when we're in a game, when we're in practice, they feel confident with themselves. So everyone's really happy and we're able to win games, which is making everyone happy once again. So 4th grade must have been some lucky year for me, because that's when I came up with my idea of SHOW, my own nonprofit organization. But it couldn't have just came to me just like that. It actually all started in 3rd grade with Mrs. Groschmidt, when she introduced me to this topic of stream testing. I didn't know what it was, but it was really fun. We would test the streams and the creeks for different levels to see if the water was safe for the environment and the animals living in it. And I realized that our lake was producing a lot of algae at the time. And that was not only hurting the animals that lived there, but also the environment. And I realized that if this bad water could hurt the animals and the environment, couldn't this bad water also affect humans? I started to think about what can I do, how I need to learn more about this. And Ms. G was really there to support me and help me research more. Once again, I was only in 3rd grade, so my research was very minimal. But then I got to 4th grade, and I created my own water filter. It was amazing. I was able to filter out amazing things such as rocks, sticks, soil, and in the end, we had this very, very weird mineral water. That's what it tasted like, at least. And yes, my friends and I tasted it. And I'm happy to say no one got sick after. So that was really my first time when I was like, wow, I really have a passion for something. And that passion was for water. So then I went home and I was telling my parents about what I wanted to do. And they said, okay, let's start a nonprofit organization. But of course, none of that would have been possible without my brother. My brother, Sandeep, is the most influential person in my life, and he is my role model, and he has always been my role model. And he had his own passion, and that was helping other students in math. My brother had his own after-school math club at the Racine Public Library, where he would help students with their math homework and help teach them more advanced topics. I loved what my brother was doing, but I wanted to do something that connected with me, something that had to do with my talent, art forms, dance, and music. So I went home, told my parents, and we thought about a non-profit organization. I had no clue what that word was, but I liked it automatically. So there was a lot of hard work involved, but the hardest thing by far was the name. Yes, it may sound silly that it took me almost 3 to 4 months to come up with the name, but at the end of it, I created SHOW, Start Helping Our Water Resources. And if you can tell, water resources is a new one-worded word. As water resources would have made the acronym sound like shower or shore, and I didn't like that. Because I wanted to combine the way that SHOW, my organization, was going to raise funds. And that was through hosting shows. Since I love dance and music, I wanted to combine my talent. And what better way to do that than hosting a show? I had multiple people from around our community come. But the way that we decided who would come was by going to my teachers. My dance teacher, Shritha, who I also call Kripanti, and my flute teacher, Mrs. Kopecki, my violin teacher, Mrs. Nelson. We would go there and ask for the best of the best students. And they would give us, of course, the best of their best students. Some of the high schoolers that we got had gone to state for WSMA over 4 times. And the dancers that we got had been learning for the past 10 years. And we also had singers come from Chicago. So it was amazing because we were getting the highest quality performers. And everyone loved that. So what was SHOW's main vision? Well, my vision was that I wanted to help teach, educate, and create clean water resources in our community. I wanted to start small in Racine, and as SHOW grew bigger, go around the world, and hopefully become a worldwide organization. But we had to start small. And so, in August of 2017, we had our first show. We raised over $3,500, and we had over 300 people attend. It was amazing. I got to share my vision and my passion to so many people. The main purpose of this show was to go to HALO, the Homeless Assistance Leadership Organization, which is a homeless shelter in Racine. I really had a deep connection with them. As went through 3rd through 5th grade, I volunteered there every month. I would cook meals there, and I would also read to the little children. So I really started to create a bond with the people who lived there. But I noticed that the water fountains were not of the best quality. Some of them were really old, and some of them had the out of order sign on them for the 3 years that I was actually volunteering there. And I wanted to change that. So what I did, with the $3,500 that we raised, we installed 2 filtered water fountains at HALO. One on the children and women's side, and one on the men's side. And when I visited there recently, they have never been happier. They've used them over 40,000 times, and not only is this providing cleaner water for them, but it's also saving so much plastic that could be going into our oceans, which is once again affecting our water resources. And it didn't stop there. After the first show, I got invited to be on the WGTD radio station. And it was amazing, because normally where I would be listening in the car to other people speaking, this time I was the person speaking. And people who I never met, people who probably never knew who I was, were able to listen to me and understand my passion. And maybe those people came to the show, maybe they went to our website, maybe they were able to learn more about the show. So I love that, and I just love the environment of being able to share your own passion without really being able to see anyone there. But then it came to be our next show, which is in June of this year, 2019. We raised over $5,000, and we had over 350 people attend. But this time, the cause was for lead pipe replacement and lead awareness in Racine County. So you might be thinking, why lead? Well, when this happened a couple of years ago, and it's still happening, but in Flint, Michigan, as many of you know, there was a huge lead crisis. And we don't want that to happen in any other city. But to our surprise, there is a risk of lead piping in every single city of the United States. Now, why? It's because homes built before 1970 used lead piping as their to connect the main water pipe through any pipes in the home. It was used as it was strong, it was malleable, and it was sturdy. So once it was installed, it would not need to be replaced. People loved that. It's a one-time investment, done. But no one knew the side effects of that material. And as research improved and technology improved, we started to realize that lead had so many side effects. In children, it could cause stunts in growth, it could cause brain damage. In pregnant women, it could deform the baby. And in people of any age, it could cause brain damage, kidney damage, and with too much exposure to it, it could cause death. And I wanted to change that. So, I went to the Racine Water Department and I took a tour there. I learned more about how they filtered our water from the lake and how they provided clean water resources to us, the residents. And I also learned that the government gave them a grant every year that allowed them to replace half of the lead piping for only a few homes in Racine. Only half. That was the problem. Because they would replace their half. But if homeowners didn't replace the other half, they were still getting the effects of lead. And it was also because the homeowners sometimes could not afford to replace it. It costs between $3,000 to $6,000, and that's a lot of money. And not everyone can afford that. So I wanted to change that. So after talking multiple times with Mr. Kosterman at the Racine Water Department, I had an idea. What if we use a show to help replace those lead pipings? So with the funds that we raised, which is once again over $5,000, that's plenty to replace all of the lead piping in a home. We were able to replace the lead piping. Just imagine how many more homes that we could help, not only in Racine, but anywhere else we go, as more people join the show community. And now everyone here is also part of it now. So with so much more support and so much more spreading the word, we can help. Awareness is very important as well because we need to let everybody know the effects of lead. And when more people know, more people will help. And so that's just an amazing thing, and I really hope that over the next few years, we can see lead-free communities, and starting off with our own Racine. So this is my next section, but before I go there, I was just wondering if anybody had any questions about my nonprofit organization, or just about me, an 8th grader. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Do you have plans for another show?
Yes, I do. We're kind of planning it out right now. We're either going to have it later next year, or maybe in June or August. Because we had one this year, so it'd be sometime next year. We've had one in August, one in June, and so it'd be somewhere between there, so either before or after summer. But it would be, once again, for lead pipe as a cause, and we'll definitely invite everyone. I hope everyone will come. It'll be great, so it'll be just amazing. So yes, we are going to have another show. Any more questions?
Did you say you have a website?
Yeah, it's shownonprofit.org. Yeah. So there's a lot of information about it, and there's this, like, everything. I've tried my best to involve everything about showing it, and we're still working on it, part of it, so we're just trying to update it. So after this, I'll be talking more and putting more stuff about Alpha Delta Kappa and how I spoke here. So it's going to be updated. Yeah. Yes?
I'm sorry, can people donate on your website?
Yes, you can donate. Yep, it's just a little page. It's like donate now. So you can just donate. Yes, it would be amazing. Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah, shownonprofit.org. Yep. Okay, so then I'll move on to my next section, which is kind of deviating from my nonprofit organization and start talking more about myself. Because I believe as teachers, you all know bullying is a really important thing. We spend a lot of time learning about it, but I'm just going to share a couple stories, 2 stories to be exact, just about where the first one is where I was actually the person who stood up for my friend, and the second one where I was the person who was getting bullied. So in support of a friend is what I like to call the first story, as we were in 5th grade, so 3 years ago, and we were in band class, and me and 2 of my other friends, we had learned some new words in English class. We were really excited to use them. They were much more fancy words. So we were really excited. We were trying to put them into sentences, and it was amazing. We were having a lot of fun. And then we saw a high schooler walk by, and he came to us, and he was going to be talking with us. And this was no normal high schooler. Everybody in the whole school knew him. He always got the lead in the musicals. He was an amazing singer. He was an amazing actor, of course. And he was really a big part of our community. He really liked to help out. So he was a role model to us. He was amazing. And almost like that celebrity moment where you're like, oh my God, is that him? Oh my God, he's going to come talk to us. And so we were really excited. And so we were continuing to use our new fancy words. And he came over and he said, do you guys even know what you're talking about? And we're like, no, we just learned them, so we're trying to use them. And he goes, no, well, that's not even right. And one of my other friends, she said, oh, I'm sorry, we were just trying to use them. And he goes, oh, what would you know? Plum tomato. And that's where everything started to spiral downhill and get out of control. Both of my friends, the friend who had been bullied and one of my other friends, they were in shock. The person that we looked up to as a role model was now looking down upon us just because we were in 5th grade and we were having fun. I did not want to be a bully back to him, so I said, I'm sorry, we were just learning them, and we were just trying to use them. And he goes, oh, are you trying to talk back to me? And he got so mad at us. And I said, how is it possible that when I just tell you that we were using them, you get so mad? But you called my friend a name, and we didn't get mad at you. Once again, he got even more mad that a 5th grader, me, was talking back to a high schooler. And he just stormed off. That was the end of the conversation. But this made my friend so happy. She gave me hugs all day, and this really strengthened our friendship. See, if I wasn't there, she would have gone home and cried. But her parents told my parents, and she went home jumping with joy. She said, oh my gosh, Shritha stood up for me. I would have been bullied if it wasn't for her. I'm so happy. It really made her happy, and I was really happy that I was able to put something to use. See, teachers spend a lot of time teaching us to not be a bully and how to stand up to bullies, but you really don't know the value of that when you're put in the position where you have to use that knowledge. And that was when I truly got to use my knowledge about bullying. And she's one of my best friends now, so that really helped strengthen our friendship. So my next story is where I was bullied, and that was because of the color and smell of my food. I love Indian food. I could talk endlessly about how much I love it. It's just amazing. But my friends, once again, this is when we were little, my friends were not used to it. They were not used to the authentic Indian cuisine. So when they first saw my food, since it looked different, it smelled different, they would say, ew, what is that? Why does it smell so weird? That looks horrible. How do you even eat that? Will that taste good? No, it probably doesn't taste good. And I was really sad. This is from my primary school years. I was really sad because people weren't accepting me for who I was. And I didn't know what to do about it. Because because this is what I eat. This is a part of me. Food is a very big part of me. And people didn't like that. So I'd go home, I would be really sad, and I would tell my parents and my family really comforted me. It's okay. And I really learned that you shouldn't change yourself for other people. So I go back the next day, after not bringing my food for a couple of days, I go back and I'm just like, you know what? Let them try it. So once again, they would say, ew, that's horrible. And I would go, would you like to try some? They go, no, why would I try that? And I go, well, we all learn that you can't judge a book by its cover. Like that, you can't judge food by the way it smells or by the way that it looks. After, once again, it took me a very long time for them to finally understand, oh, maybe I should try it. And they're like, okay, can I please try a piece? I'm like, sure, go ahead. So I'll give them some. They eat it and they'll be like, oh my God, this is delicious. Wow, I love the flavors. Oh my God, it's so spicy, but I want to eat more. This is amazing. Why have I never had this before? So people loved it. I understood, wow, people are learning more about not only me, but also more about my culture. And one of my favorite Indian dishes is fish fry, and my mom makes an amazing fish fry. So I brought it to school one day, and my friends tried it, and they loved it. This is delicious, oh my God, this is amazing. And that has become one of their favorite dishes as well. So every single time that my mom makes fish fry, she has to pack extra fish and extra rice just for that. So they deserve part of my lunch. I love it. They love it, they truly love it. And they're just like, oh my God, this is amazing, thank you so much. And I really learned that sometimes it does take time. You have to be patient, but without being a bully, you can help reverse the minds of other people and help them try new things. Because sometimes when you're used to having the same thing over and over again, you're used to seeing the same thing, it's really hard when you see something unique and different, and you make assumptions about it without even getting to know it. So I think that this story really helped my friends get to know me more, but also for me to get to know my friends better. They got to see, wow, they really are not the people that they talk about. They're not the people who say, ew, your food's horrible. They're the people who are like, oh my God, your food is amazing. So I truly believe that these two bullying stories, one where I was the person who was standing up for my friend, and one where I was the person getting bullied, really encompass the main and major instances where bullying can happen in primary school and in a student's childhood. I'm sure as you guys have all been teachers, you guys have probably seen this in your students. But I feel like seeing it from the student's perspective, me, that really changes it, because you guys got to see how I dealt with it. Without being a bully, I dealt with it being calm and peaceful, so that people could understand how to change themselves. Because sometimes when you say things without thinking, that's what my friends did. But when you learn to think before you say, it can completely change everything. So, thank you everyone. Now this is the end of my speech, and I'm really honored, and I'm so happy to be here. I've met so many new people, and everyone is just so happy and joyful. It's just amazing. So thank you everyone so much. Once again, thank you Mrs. Sinclair and Alpha Delta Kappa for inviting me here today. I hope that everyone has learned more about me, my organization, and my childhood, even though I'm still a child. Once again, thank you Mrs. G, because I wouldn't be here. Without you, you really helped kickstart the show, and the idea wouldn't have came to me without stream testing. And once again, thank you to my mom. Happy birthday, Mom. Which is amazing. I love you so much. And my family, my brother who's at college, and my dad, because they've always supported me through anything I've done. And they were here to support me today, even if they're not physically here. So once again, thank you everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Once again, if you'd like to get my nonprofit email or the website, please ask me, and I hope that everyone will come to our next show. We will definitely invite everybody, so everyone can come and become more a part of the show community. So once again, thank you everyone, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Wow.